Great to have you on the show. Let's talk about the market performance today. Certainly, I'm curious about how much the news coming out of the market makers finally coming into play in a week's time or so, and of course some of the corporate news coming out of the markets influence market performance today.
Okay, basically I think this is a welcome development, the introduction of market makers. I think that basically it's going to assist in stabilizing the market, and it's going to help with market liquidity, and once the market becomes stable and becomes more liquid, then you will actually see more trades going on in the market, and this should help the market in its upward trend so far.
Well, Efe, certainly we know the banking stocks, cement stocks such as Dangote Cement, brewery sector, these are some of the sectors that have been driving market performance. But today we're focusing on the infrastructure stocks. How much interest are we seeing in those stocks from investors? I mean, I do know that Stanbic IBTC has its in-house Nifty 40 index. How many infrastructural stocks are listed on that index?
I think we have about 4 of them in the index, and basically what we do with the index is to monitor top 40 securities in the Nigerian market, and we have the likes of Dangote Cement, we have Ashaka Cement, we have WAPCO, and then we have CCNN.
So certainly it seems like your top stocks in that sector are the cement stocks. And looking at some of the stock picks in that sector, we know certainly stocks like Dangote Cement will feature. I mean, that's a large cap and quite a popular, good performing stock. But give me some of your other stock picks in the sector, especially from the building and material sector.
Okay, for this particular sector is one that we expect to see a lot from in the next couple of quarters, and the reason is simply because for an emerging market like Nigeria, infrastructure development is key to the growth of the economy, and it has been proven in several ways that Nigeria really has an infrastructure gap. So we expect to see more activities in this particular sector. Drilling the sector down into particular securities, so of course you've mentioned the likes of Dangote Cement, and most people would also say WAPCO, Lafarge WAPCO, but if you really focus on the numbers, relative valuation, you will find out that the likes of Ashaka Cement and CCNN are trading relatively lower than the others. For example, Ashaka Cement is trading at a PE of about 6%, 6 times compared to the industry average of about 14. Dangote Cement and WAPCO are close to 15 and 16 respectively. You also have CCNN that is trading at 2 times. So really, we see value coming in from the securities that are ranked fairly below Dangote Cement and WAPCO. So we expect to see investors picking up interest in one of those 2 securities. In terms of dividend yield as well, Ashaka Cement is on, I think, 7%, while we have CCNN at about 11%. Meanwhile, Dangote Cement and WAPCO, they are 2% respectively, compared to the industry average of about 9%. So I think that investors should, as opposed to seeing the sector as a whole and knowing that the sector is profitable and viable, we should also look at individual securities and try to rank them based on their relative attractiveness.
But Efe, what about the construction stocks? I mean, we're talking a lot about the cement stocks, but I'm looking at some construction stocks that could be good investment. Julius Berger, that stock seems to be on the up and up. Looking at maybe its performance in the last week or so, it gained about 2 naira in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, Julius Berger, relative to the other securities that I've mentioned, has actually done better than each and every one of them. But the key reason why you might find investors shying away from the likes of Julius Berger is liquidity. And with the introduction of market makers, I think that investors might be more interested in the security. I don't see anything wrong with the security, but like as I said, liquidity is a key concern for investors, especially institutional investors.
Well, thank you so much, Efe, for giving us your take there on the infrastructural stocks. That was Efe Omoduemuke. He's a fund manager with Stanbic IBTC Investment and Management.